Since 2008, Beeston Market has undergone a few changes. New sidings were added in 2010, and it was further extended in 2017. However, over its 17 years' existence, some parts of the timber baseboard have sagged, and when I crawled underneath, they were showing signs of rot. I decided it was time for a complete refurbishment. The first task was to lift the track. No mean task, as it was embedded in concrete and ballasted with a range of sand, budgie grit, soil and aquarium gravel. However, with some careful chiselling and levering, most of the trackwork came away, more or less intact. Once the roofing felt underlay was stripped away, the true extent of the wet rot became apparent. It was obvious that in some places the track was all that was holding the baseboard together. The same process was repeated for the copper mine, where once again a fair amount of rot became evident. Rather than attempting to patch the affected areas, I decided to rip out all the boards and start again. 3 trips to the local tip with my trusty trailer, and I was ready to begin. Most of the posts were intact, but a couple had rotted at the base, and 2 had rotted from the top. These were replaced, and a few more posts added to ensure the boards had a firm foundation. Pressure-treated 6-inch by 1-inch boards from my local fencing supplier were acquired and cut to fit. This time I made sure I soaked the sawn ends with wood preservative, as it was obvious that this was where most of the rot had occurred with the old baseboard. The boards were covered with good quality, 15-year guaranteed, roofing felt, and all joints sealed with bitumen felt adhesive. And then track laying could begin. Learning from experience of running trains in and out of the station, I altered the track layout slightly to make shunting operations easier and more interesting. I also eliminated radius 1 points from all areas except the run-round loop on the exchange siding at the rear of the station. The copper mine sidings remained much as they were previously, though I did manage to squeeze in another siding for coal, tanker, gunpowder and pit prop wagons. I also raised the copper mine sidings slightly above the main line to further differentiate them. And so it was time to test everything. After running a couple of test trains forwards and backwards through every section of track, I decided it was time for a proper test run. The first train of the day was an emptied-down sand train running out from the exchange siding, hauled by Black Hawthorn Loco No. 14, Burwoodsley. Next, an empty ore train emerges from the exchange siding onto the new run-round loop. Incidentally, the planks for the platform have been sited temporarily to check clearances before being fixed into place. The loco uncouples and runs onto the Bay Road to collect the brake van. I made sure the head shunt was long enough to take both the loco and at least one wagon. With the brake van attached, the loco can retrieve the workman's coach and take it to the front of the train. Once it gets the all clear, the first down ore train of the day departs, hauled by freelance ex-IP Engineering Jesse Loco No. 8, Winford. I was interested to discover how the newly installed double slip would perform, and so Naismith and Wilson Loco number 21 Broxton was pressed into service to shunt wagons for the morning mixed. As you can see, some adjustment might be needed for the loco, but the wagons seemed to take the curve on the slip without any problem. As with the exchange siding loop, I made sure the head shunt on the platform loop was long enough to take the loco and a brake van, and so the van was positioned before the loco ran back to the head of the train. With all shunting manoeuvres completed, the morning mixed was given the all clear and allowed to proceed down the line. You'll notice that the spare coach has been shunted onto the Bay Road, thus blocking the exchange siding run-round loop, something I was interested in further investigating as the day progressed. We follow the morning mixed as it passes the engine shed and leaves the station. It provides an opportunity to see the revamped copper mine sidings, now raised slightly above the main line. Most of the copper mine buildings have been slotted back into place, but the hopper and the 2-foot gauge feeder railway will need to be reconfigured at some point in the future. Remaining at the copper mine, a little later, we see the down ore train arriving. Fortunately, the loading chutes above still manage to clear the roof of the workman's coach as the train coasts to a halt. After running round and attaching the brake van, the loco departs with its train of loaded skips and an empty gunpowder van, making its way back to Beeston Market Station for reloading. Its departure provides an opportunity for Ruston Proctor 040 diesel mechanical loco number 26 Greg to engage in some shunting. The workman's coach is removed from the front of the train and taken to one of the 2 sidings, where it will wait until the workday ends. Later still, the loaded up ore train reaches Beeston Market Station and goes to the exchange siding. As you can see, it was a very blustery day, and even the furry wind-socked microphone on the camera couldn't cope with the noise of gusts. The brake van was deposited in a siding and the gunpowder van removed for shunting later, before the loaded skips were propelled into the exchange siding, though in reality returned to the copper mine by a hidden link. Shortly after, the up morning mixed arrives, passing behind the engine shed. Previously, this was accessed from the main line, but now it is connected to the run-round loop. Eventually, when it has been thoroughly tested, all the track will be embedded in ballast. As the mixed coasts to a halt beside the platform, we can gain a longer view of the new track layout. As you can see, the engine shed is on the head shunt to the run-round loop, and the cattle dock on the right now also has its own short loop via the double slip. If you remember earlier, a coach had been left stranded on the Bay Road, and I was interested in how the problem of it blocking the exchange siding run-round loop might be resolved. Well, as you can see, after shunting off the wagons from the mixed, the loco reversed into the bay to pick up the extra coach. The mid-morning passenger departs, just in time for the now empty ore train to make use of the run-round loop. I'll leave you to decide whether it was careful planning or just serendipity. By the time loco number 8 has run round the ore train, attached the brake van, and begins its departure, Care Stewart Loco number 23 Bunbury has been fired up and moves from the engine shed to begin shunting wagons for the daily pickup goods. By the way, the signal box and plate layer's hut have only been sighted in a rough, temporary position. After shunting most of the wagons needed for the train from the goods sidings onto the loop, I decided to try a new manoeuvre, taking the livestock wagons from the cattle dock road through the double slip and thence onto the end of the train. It would probably have been just as easy to take these two wagons out from the other end of the cattle dock loop, but as this was a test run, it was a bit more interesting. With the return of the mid-morning passenger, the goods train is ready to depart. On the left, you may just spot a couple of wires used to remotely operate the points on the exchange siding at the back of the layout. These are thick galvanized fencing wire, once more from my local fencing supplier. They seem to work okay, so my next step is to encase them in polythene tubing, so they are protected when I start the messy business of applying ballast. The pickup goods now departs to deliver its much-needed produce to the communities and businesses down the line. The day moves on, and we are now standing on the platform beside the mid-afternoon passenger as the up pickup goods arrives, having carried out its duties down the line. The passenger train departs, leaving the pickup goods to carry out its shunting duties in the yard. Apart from a couple of issues with particular wagons and one loco on the double slip, all the point work seems to be functioning as it should, which is a great relief. The day is now moving on. The pickup goods has completed its shunting, and its loco has retired to the shed. An ore train and a sand train have come and gone, and the up afternoon mixed is now drawing into the station. This sort of telephoto shot would normally highlight kinks in any track work, but to my eye is quite acceptable for a decrepit narrow-gauge railway in the 1930s. And now the day is drawing to a close for railway operations. The steam locos are resting in the shed as the last up ore train drifts into the station on its way to the exchange siding. The final passenger service for the day is waiting on the platform, provided in the main by Walker Railcar number 19 Lionel. However, diesel loco number 8 has not completed its duties for today. It still has an important function to perform, as we shall see. The main problem with single-ended rail cars is that they can't run for any distance in reverse. The driver can't see where he's going for a start. Either they need to be turned round at each end of the line, or they need to be towed back by another loco or rail car. Hence, loco number 8 has been pressed into service for the rail car's return trip. Lord Tolmash, the line's main benefactor, has decided to use the train to return home to Peckforton Castle, his summer residence, and so the director's saloon has been added to the train. The test run session has come to an end. I was pleased with how the newly laid track work performed. I still need to test the entire fleet of locos and all the rolling stock to ensure nothing is compromised, but so far, so good.